So I'm going to be bringing up another story time once again. I'm going to be talking about my previous experience of about a week of being in Las Vegas. Being in Las Vegas, this was during a time of, from what I understand or can remember, it was either 2000. Oh man, I don't know. It was definitely in the early 2000s. I don't think it was 2005. I would have been too little. Maybe I was 6 or 7 years old. I honestly don't remember. My grandmother was doing a lot of this real estate stuff and things, so I know that much for the most part. So it was pretty chill for the most part. I don't really remember much. There really wasn't much like tech or many people that was like really we're in a civilization right now where we have phones, we have laptops, all that cool crazy stuff. Whereas back then, I don't think we really had all of that much. So everybody was probably still using flip phones and stuff. I don't know. I don't really honestly remember like what technology state we were at. I kind of forget. It was still just coming around. It was still like in its infancy, I guess. I don't even know if Apple was a thing yet. I honestly forget. I really don't know. It's been so long. But the conference and where this took place was this was a real estate conference that my grandmother was in. My grandmother was very much into real estate. She was into also like trying to learn about the business of real estate, flipping houses, buying them, making them the investment properties, things like that. She was working into doing stuff like that basically for the most part. That's kind of what she was into, which is cool and everything. She also did nursing and other things like that, which is pretty cool. It was really chill, I guess you could say, for the most part. But when the conference wasn't happening, there are things and times where when we're actually like not being at the conference, all the food was paid for. The event, I think, was free. I don't know. This was at a time where people do conferences, they create a bunch of hype and marketing, and they got like the little like teams and all these little things about, oh yeah, come check this out, we're going to teach you something, whatever. Really simple, like the beginning infancy of just like just the ideas of being an entrepreneur. Basically, it was just still growing, bro. It was still like, oh yeah, like the internet really wasn't totally a thing yet. It was maybe there and it was a thing, but it just wasn't really widely accessible. It just really wasn't that widely acceptable and usable and at your fingertips as much as it is right now, especially being in 2020. When it really came down to it, it was just honestly, it was quite an experience. If you went to like McDonald's, it was like a hamburger was like 230 or something, and you're just like, and like I'm the type of person where I'm from Florida, where hamburgers at McDonald's are like literally like anywhere from 50 to 60 cents. It's that crazy and cheap. Now if you're talking about trying to get a hamburger for that now, in 2020, I don't know if they're still that cheap, honestly. The market changes, things change over time, but this was at a time when the internet really wasn't that huge yet. So you could get a hamburger for that price, but the price of getting it when you're in Las Vegas is just like, damn. Like that's just crazy. So honestly, it was pretty wild. I went to the MGM Like I saw like that building. There was also the M&M candy store that they had around there. I looked at a lot of the local things that they had there. The biggest things I remember was the M&M factory. That was so wild. I'm just like, whoa, such a like candy paradise and everything. You can you can like make your own bag of like M&M candies and stuff. That was like so cool. Um, the whole thing on gambling is pretty wild. Um, they don't let you like they honestly like don't let you like sit down. They want you to like keep walking, and the only time on if you're ever gonna like sit down is like if you're gonna sit down, you better be playing, and if you're not playing, you ain't sitting. And we had been walking. We felt like we walked like 60 miles so much. It was so wild, basically. There wasn't really any like ability to like just sit down and rest unless you went back to your hotel room or whatever. And definitely the whole atmosphere of like Las Vegas when you're in a casino, it's all just set up around that nighttime is daytime and daytime is like nighttime basically, so that like if you're in a casino and you're in it for 5 minutes and then you come back outside and you walk outside, you're going to be like, damn, 5 hours passed. Like the time dilation of getting you so hooked and focused into doing things is so crazy for how they're set up, obviously. So that's definitely something. I swear to God that I could have seen like a Percy Jackson movie or something at one point, one of those movies or whatever, and they actually had something on a little mini scene on Las Vegas of some guy that was just like playing some, casino whatever slot machine, and he looked so old and ruggedy, and he was just like he had been in there since like 1878 or some crazy number or year, and then it was like you're in the future, man, like where are you at, and he just never stepped outside and hardly aged or whatever, which is kind of funny. And I feel like that can be pretty true, where once you set foot in a casino, it's like it's literally can become like a time capsule. There's all this light, and then there's all this darkness, there's all these like loud music, there's all this just craziness going on that you're just like it's like if you thought of like having to deal with sleeping with white noise, basically it's basically like that. There's all this talking, there's all this yelling, there's all this drinking, there's all this just sometimes loud music going on. There's just like so much of an atmosphere that's created in it. It's like if you were to have like a little snow globe, and that little snow globe was like its own little colony, and it's like it's everything, and like that's a whole building of the casino. That's basically what that is. Like it's so crazy that that's just like casinos are like their own little snow globes of like the little colonies and worlds that they are themselves, and that there's just so much money in it that it's just like it is so crazy. That's what it literally comes down to. Um, like, I remember that the plane trip was pretty long. I think that like when this was back in the day of what it was with how the airplane was and what it was basically. Um, like I just recently like in 2020 here had a trip to like California and stuff for like a week. I made a video on it, and so yeah, I had like more of a like a 3 point thing from Florida, Colorado to then California basically. But I think when I had this trip to Las Vegas, it was just basically from Florida to Las Vegas. It wasn't any stops or nothing. It was pretty chill for the most part, honestly. So yeah, that's kind of how that was. But when you think about it now, and you think about it's basically a city in a desert, basically for the most part. I mean, it's really a lot of mountains. There isn't really a lot to do probably out there except for casinos and some technology from, California and this and that and whatever. Honestly, when it comes down to it, like, I'm a person who grew up in the South and stuff, so I'm very like just so accustomed to like the South. I love it. I love Florida. It's just like it's basically the life, and I like it a lot. When it comes down to even places like Georgia, Georgia's pretty chill, I guess. Atlanta and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's just kind of what I've experienced. I even have like some memories where you'd be walking like so much that you have like the carpet or like the socks are in your shoes, and then they got like all this chrome and metal, and if honestly you're not careful, you can like touch it and then like get like a little mini micro shock from touching it, and you just be like, whoa, that felt weird. Like it's pretty wild for the most part. It wasn't just me and my grandmother, obviously too, but there was some business partner that my grandmother had at the time or whatever, and so this person was really into gambling a little bit. So we didn't spend too much time around them when they were there doing whatever they wanted to do, because we went and did our own thing and was doing whatever. The conference was in the hotel basically, so for the most part we didn't really do much exploring. The Airbnb, Lyft, Uber, I don't think they were around at that time. There was just like, honestly, when you think about it, if you think about a time when people are not on their phones, you only got flip phones for like a basic phone for the most part, and you're not out there, swiping on Instagram and using dating apps or doing Facebook or whatever it is. The world honestly is a way different, crazy place than what it used to be now, where everybody's just on the internet and everybody has access to like a little mini computer in their pocket basically. It's pretty wild for the most part. So when it really comes down to it, it's honestly, from the experience of what life was back then to what it is now, is pretty honestly dramatic for what it is. And I mean, that's what it was. I mean, I think for the most part, I just stayed in the hotel room. There really wasn't much to do. I probably just watched some TV or whatever for the most part, and like that was it. And then went back to Florida. I wasn't really into wanting to really do too much or doing anything. We probably just did some like eating around a little bit here and there, and that was about it. A lot of the food we got was from the conference and the thing itself for the most part. So the conference provided a lot of the food for the most part, and that's what it was. So that's what I know of, and that's what I remember from my experience of being in Las Vegas. I have some other ones I'm going to be talking about soon for New York, California. I could talk about Atlanta pretty easily. I've been to Atlanta many times. So yeah, I can't think of any other ones, but for the most part, that's what I can think of for the most part. I'm going to be making some videos on those soon, so stay subscribed for those. And I'm just going to be doing more story times and cranking them out. And hopefully, these videos are kind of interesting to listen to, or, having a take on, what I've been through and what I've experienced, and, going from there on that. So thank you so much for listening.